Hey guys, this is Anne Marie, the Anti-HR HR lady, and this is the Anti-HR channel on YouTube. I'm Anne Marie of the Anti-HR HR Consultancy, and on this channel, I like to talk about all things workplace rights and employee workplace rights, to be specific, and I like to talk about it most of the time from the lens of how employees experience work, how marginalized and especially Black employees and particularly Black women experience work. And I like to educate employees about their workplace rights so that you know how to assert your workplace rights if you believe they're being violated. So if that's of interest to you, please take a moment and hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. So today, I want to talk about a very practical issue, which is related to job searches, because I'm very aware that there's a lot of upheaval in the job market right now. And, you know, when people were working from home during COVID and right after COVID, it was very much an employee's market. But the employers made sure to flip the script by, you know, cutting jobs and downsizing. And a lot of this stuff they did to bring you guys to heel. And they said so because they always like to make you feel like they have the upper hand. And so right now, you know, they're cutting jobs. You've got an administration and a regime that is in here doing everything it can to return the United States and workers to the feudal system. Google the feudal system if you don't know what that means. So things are not great if you're an employee, especially if you do not conceptually understand capitalism and how it works and why it works the way that it is. And capitalism is the engine that drives white supremacy in the United States of America and everywhere else, right? Is the desire for a small group of people to make lots and lots of money, and enough is never enough. There's no, like, I've hit this number and it's enough. And to take advantage of other groups of people in order to do so, right? It's very exploitative in the way that it is exercised in the US and in other countries as well. But I believe the United States has a form of hyper-capitalism that is unlike anything that you see anywhere else, because it is a country that really gains its success from conditioning its citizens to be hyper-consumers, okay? Because you need people to buy, and consume in order to make lots and lots of money. And so most of us have been conditioned from birth that showing how many things we have, it is what makes us important and what makes our lives matter. And it takes a really long time for us to realize that that's not true. And some of us never realize it. But I digress. What I want to talk about today is things that will help and empower you as an employee as you enter the job market and seek to find new employment. So in today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to share, in today's video, I'm going to share 5 interview questions that I think you should ask during a job interview to help you determine whether or not a company is in alignment with your values and whether it's in alignment with what you want to be doing. Because at the end of the day, work is a social contract, okay? Somebody hires you to do a thing and they pay you to do it. They need a thing done. They need someone to do it. They either can't do it themselves because they don't know how, or because they have so much of the work to do that they need to hire more and more people to do the thing, okay? And so they hire you to do it. That's basically what work is about. You know, we live in a society and in a world that has tried to convince us that work is about all these other things and people that they're our family and we're supposed to love everybody we work with and all these things. None of these things are necessarily true. It's about someone needing something done and paying you to do it because you have the knowledge, skills, and abilities to do the thing they need you to do, okay? And part of the reason that so many of us have so much disillusionment about work is that we have a serious misunderstanding about what work is really about. Work is not supposed to be your happiness. It's not supposed to be the source of inspiration. It's not supposed to be the thing that defines who you are as a human being. It's simply the thing that you do so that you can make enough money in a capitalist society to do the other things you want to actually do. It's what you do so that you can do the things you actually want to do. And I think more of us are discovering this as those who are providing jobs and creating jobs begin to treat you more and more like a slave, right? Instead of an equal partner in an enterprise, you're beginning to realize that work really is only about making money and that you have no responsibility to be loyal to these companies because they are not loyal to you. What they are loyal to is their bottom line. And it has always been thus. It wasn't any different in the, quote, good old days, unquote. This has always been the case. You're just realizing it now. So when you are looking for a job, you need to understand that you're not just being interviewed. You should also be interviewing. You should also be asking questions that you need answered in that interview. This is one of the reasons why always being in a job search mindset, as I mentioned in a short video I put up recently, is important. And I'm gonna have a sip of my coffee. And also, looking for a job while you have a job is always the best way to go. Because when you are looking for a job, when you don't have a job, you are more likely to end up in another toxic job. If you're running away from one, you've left it, now you're looking for another job, you're more likely to end up in another toxic job if you are desperate for a job. If you are pressed for a job because you need what? Money to pay for things like keeping a roof over your head, keeping gas in your car, keeping your car, right? Food, eggs, things like that. So the best time to look for a job is when you have a job. Even when it's a job you don't like. That's the best time to look for a job. While you already have a job, start looking for the new job, okay? And when you are looking for that job, you should be asking questions in the interview. So when they ask you all the questions that they have and you've answered them, and they ask you, do you have any questions for us? You need to say yes. And you need to ask some of these questions. And I have a blog post up that talks about the 10 interview questions that you need to ask. I'm going to share 5 in this video, but there are 10 questions I think that you should ask. And they're all in the blog post. They're linked to the description of this video. I encourage you guys to read it. If you are not subscribed to my website, I encourage you to subscribe because I will be posting more of these kinds of practical tips in my blog section. They will usually be visible to my members of the AntiHR membership community first, but then they will go to the website and you will be able to see them. If you would like to be a member of my community, you should subscribe to my website and then go to my website and click on AntiHR, join AntiHR community. It's $20 to be a monthly member. It is $12 a month to be an annual member. I will be very honest that the annual membership provides more benefits than the monthly membership because annual members are making a longer commitment than monthly members, but both members get access to a lot of information. All members get discounted access to master courses. Coming very soon to the community will be a free master course that I will be offering. One of my master courses free to my annual members, the entire master course. And I'll be sharing more about which master course it is in the community. So if you want more information on that, you should join the community. But they get access right now to discounted master courses. They get access to free resources. For example, my roadmap to understanding your workplace rights, which is probably my most popular ebook, is free if you're a member. You can download it for free if you are a member in the community. So membership has its privileges, right? And I also host live sessions that are only accessible to members and subscribers. So right now, subscribers and members get access to live discussions. We had a live discussion about workplace mobbing this week. It was amazing. It was very well attended. And this was open if you were a subscriber as well as if you were a member of the community. Replays of the sessions are available to members of the community. So if you're a member of the community, you have the ability to go listen to the replay of any live session that I do anytime you want to. I'm also going to begin recording like chats that I do kind of like these, but exclusively for my members. And I'm also going to be launching this summer some mini counseling sessions, mini consulting sessions for group members. So people in my group who are having workplace issues, dealing with hostile work environments, dealing with bullying, things like that, will be able to have access to me as a part of their membership to ask for advice at no additional fee. Annual members also get to have a free discovery call each year to talk to me for free for what they need to talk about for 20 minutes. This is something people pay for. Annual members get that for free. So membership has its privileges. If this sounds good to you, go to my website, join the anti-HR community, where I'm going to be taking a lot of the conversations that I want to have that I don't feel comfortable having on this forum. I will be having them over there. So if you're interested in talking about, more about the political landscape, what that means for workplace rights and so on, please join my community, because I will be doing some pre-recorded sessions very soon, and they will only be available to people in my community. So, and subscribers. Right now, subscribers and members of the community. What I was saying is, as you're interviewing, it is very important, right, to understand that you have a responsibility to interview people that you want to work for as much as they have a responsibility to interview you. And more of us need to take that responsibility more seriously. So if you want to know the 10 whole questions, please go read the blog post. But let's get into the 5 questions. And these are not the top questions, the best questions. These are 5 questions I've selected. I've developed 10, but I'm going to share 5 that I think you should ask in every interview that you participate in. So the first question I think that you should ask in an interview, after they say to you, do you have any questions for us? You should say yes. Do you have a job description available that I can take a look at? This is very important, because I need you to understand that the job description and the job announcement are not the same thing. A job announcement is something that a company puts out to attract applicants. It is a marketing tool. It is usually a summary of a job description. So it doesn't have all the things you need to know. It just pulls out usually what kind of experience they're looking for, like very high level, what the person will be doing, what kind of experience, and then they tell you all the wonderful things about the company so that you will apply for the job. A job announcement and a job description are not the same thing. So one of the things that you should ask in the interview is it possible for me to see the entire job announcement, the entire job description, so that I can get a complete picture of the requirements of this job to ensure that I feel comfortable that I am the right and best match for it? Ask that and watch the reaction. If you get any kind of a negative reaction, red flag. If they refuse to give it to you, red flag. If they say they don't have a job description yet for the role, red flag. Ask for a job description. I recently spoke to a person who's been in a job for at least 6 months or more and was having a lot of difficulty in the job. And she told me, she actually might have been in there for more than a year, she didn't have no job description. And I explained to her that it was her responsibility to have a job description before she even accepted that job. Free tip. Under no circumstances should you accept an offer for a job where you have not seen the job description. And again, I'm not talking about the job announcement that you saw on LinkedIn or that you saw on Indeed or whatever. Those are job announcements. You want the job description. The job description is super important because it lays out the parameters around which you will be evaluated for performance. It lays out all the knowledge, skills, and abilities. It lays out what you will be doing, right? And what you will be evaluated against. You want to know that before you take a job. Because when people don't have job descriptions, they will just make shit up when you get in there. So the job you think you were hired for through the job announcement could turn out to be a completely different thing. If you haven't seen the job description, you'll be surprised. That can still happen, but at least if you have a job description, you can say, this is not what I was hired. This is the job that I was told I would be doing. Now you over here have me doing all these other things. The math is not mathing. Don't wait to get into a job to ask for a job description. And if they do not provide one to you upon your request, if they act any type of way about giving it to you, if they say anything other than we will be happy to share that with you by email and then do so, red flag. Ask for a job description. Next question to ask is, why is this position open? Would you mind sharing a little bit about why this position is open at this time? Again, you want to know, and a lot of these questions I'm telling you to ask them because I want you to observe the reaction that you receive from the person interviewing you when you ask the question. And if you get any negative vibes, if you get anything like that, that's a red flag. Okay? Ask why the position is open and ask how long the position has been open. These are important things to tell you about whether you're walking into a problem. If the position has been open for more than 6 months and they haven't been able to fill it, red flag. You can also ask how many people have filled this position in the last year or in the last 2 years. Again, because you want to know if there's a whole lot of turnover. So you want to ask questions about the history of the position. How long has the position been open? How many people have held this position in the last year? If it's been more than one person well, here's what I'm going to say. Shit happens at work. People die, people get sick, things can happen. But if more than 3 people have been in that position in the last year and they tell you that, red flag. Okay? Because that indicates that there's some kind of problem in the organization that they can't keep a person in that role. You need to ask these things. Don't want to come into the job in the first week, find out that 8 people was in the job before you got there. And now you know you are knee deep in a shit show. And now you got to figure out how to get out. Ask these questions in the interview. It's better for you to withdraw from consideration, turn down a job offer, than to walk into a hot mess. Especially if you are in a job already that is a hot mess, you don't want to walk into another mess. So ask, why is this position open? And can you tell me how long it has been open and how many people have held it in the last 12 months? Question number 3. Ask them, who will I be reporting to? And what is their management style? If the person is in the room, ask them. If someone raises their hand and says, I'm the person you'll be reporting to, assuming that you're, talking to a panel or you're talking to more than one person, you ask them directly, can you describe your management style to me? Okay? Again, observe how someone says something as much as what they say. Okay? If you feel any kind of way about the way the person reacts to the question or answers it, red flag. Red flag. All right? But ask that question. Remember, you need to want the job as much as they want you in the job. You need to ask these questions so you know what you are dealing with. Okay? So it is very important that you ask people about their management style and listen to what they say and how they describe their management style. Question number 4. Ask them, what is a typical work week like? Okay? Or you can ask them, how does the company feel about work-life balance and what is the expectation of employees relevant to work outside of regular working hours? This assumes that they have already told you what their regular business working hours are. If they have not, you need to ask them, what are the regular business working hours of this that required by this job or of your company? Because you want to know, is it Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 10 to 7? What are the work hours? What are your core work hours? Listen to what they say, watch how they say it, okay? Then ask them as a follow-up, what is the company's philosophy about work-life balance? And how does this interact or interface with your expectations around work hours, right? Ask that question. What you will want to know, what you're trying to get at is, are these people going to be expecting you to be answering calls after 7 o'clock and before 10 o'clock in the morning, if their hours are 10 to 7? Are they going to be calling you on the weekends? Is there a regular expectation that you be available all hours of the day and night? Ask the question and pay attention to what they say. If they don't give you a straightforward answer or they get any kind of attitude about it, red flag. And it's okay for you to say, It's very important to me. You don't need to tell them you have children. They don't need to know whether you're married or not. As a matter of fact, none of those things are their business. And I don't recommend volunteering that information in an interview. And if people ask you, it's a problem, because no one should be asking you about your marital status or whether you have children in a job interview. Okay? So don't volunteer it. Just say, work-life balance is very important to me. I think it is very important for people to have time for non-work activities. And so I want to understand your philosophy about work-life balance. So can you explain how you approach work-life balance based on your expectations around work hours and days of work in the week? And that's assuming that they have given you that information. So if they haven't, ask for that first. Once you get it, ask the follow-up question. And here's number 5 in this video of the questions that I think you should ask you in an interview. Ask them, what is something you wish that people knew about this company before they joined? And pay attention to the answer. This is a question that most interviewers will not expect you to ask. That's why I'm throwing this one in there for you. And it'll impress some interviewers that you even asked it. But ask that question. And you're not asking it to impress them. You're asking because you want to know and you want to hear the answer. What is something that you wish that employees knew about this company before they joined it? Pay attention to what they say. Or if they don't know how to answer the question, or they evade answering the question, or they give you a non-answer, red flag. Okay? So these are 5 questions that I think you should ask in an interview. I have 5 more in my blog post. There are 10 total that I think you should ask. In an upcoming video, I'm going to be talking more about interview red flags. But I want to prep you now first with questions that you should ask, because I think a lot of you are dropping the ball in the interview process by not asking your own questions. You're also excited to be there. You're so happy they asked you that you don't realize that you should be interviewing them as well. And you must interview them as well, right? I will be doing a session in my community about interview strategies and tactics, in addition to questions, things that people should do in interviews, how to answer questions that you don't really want to answer, right? Things like that I will be doing inside my community. But in this video, I wanted to explain to you guys what you should be asking, because it's clear to me that many of you are falling down on the interview process by not doing some interviewing yourself. And you're ending up in hot mess jobs. After getting out of one hot mess, you're jumping from the frying pan into the fire. Frying pan into the fire. It's very early still, y'all. That's why I'm still drinking coffee. Because you are not going in there with an intention to gain information for yourself. An interview is a two-way street. It's not them just interviewing you, it's you interviewing them. Because they have an interest in your ability to do something they need you to do, and you have an interest in being paid to do the thing, but also not ending up in a shit show. Okay? Not ending up in chaos. So you want to ask questions during the interview that signals that you are a thoughtful person, and also that you're not trying to come in and deal with no BS. Remember, you teach people how to treat you, and it starts with the interview. And they may decide they don't like you and don't hire you. That's better than ending up in a bad job. You want to signal, even in the interview process, that you are not the person to hire if you're looking for somebody to abuse. So you want to ask questions. And that may mean that they don't interview you. And guess what? That's a good thing. Because if you are looking for a job, interviewing while you have a job, them not hiring you ain't no skin off your back. You don't want to end up in a worse situation than you were already in, or the same situation if you're running away from a hostile, discriminatory, toxic work environment that you were already in, right? So you want to put yourself in a position, and it doesn't guarantee that you don't end up in crazy, because people lie. People lie. I'm going to just tell you that right now. People lie. Recruiters lie. HR people will lie to you and tell you everything is great. I got a story time. Well, I've told you guys already before, but I got story times about how people will lie to you in interviews, because they're going to lie to you. So you need to understand that you can do all of these things the right way and still end up in a not great situation, but it is less likely if you ask the right questions in an interview and you know what the red flags are. And I'll be doing another video. I've done a video about job interview red flags. I will link it to the description of this video, but I have now written a blog post about it that I'll be sharing very soon in my community and then on my website to everyone else. And I will be talking more about job interview, not job interview red flags, but yes, job interview red flags, because I'm going to share some from my experience. I'm going to do a story time about job interview red flags, because it's really important for you guys to know what to ask in an interview and to see what the red flags are in an interview so that you can politely remove yourself, right? So I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you found it informative. Tell me in the comments the red flags that, not red flags. I keep thinking red flags on the top of my mind right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you found these tips about interview questions helpful. Let me know about things you've asked. Tell me some questions in the comments that you've asked in interviews that have been helpful for you in terms of determining whether you were walking into a problematic situation. And before I close, I want to say something about the people who think that they can come into my comments and talk about my parents. These people are not in the comments. Are not, well, they're not in my comment section anymore because they all got blocked. But let me explain something to you. And those of you who follow me on Ball Girl Will Travel already know this. I wear what I want. I wear what makes me happy. I don't dress for other people. I dress for myself. I recommend that all women adopt this mindset. I know what my assets are. I know what my deficits are. I know what my physical attributes are. I know what my intellectual attributes are. I'm a well-rounded human being. So I'm not going to engage with you. I'm just going to block you. So if you're looking for attention, and so you decide to make your little comment, it's not going to be there. Nobody's going to see it. And I'm not going to respond to you. If you don't like how low I button my sweaters, I suggest you go watch somebody else's content. I wear what I want. I wear it how I want. And that's not going to change. And I only say this because I want to empower other women who look like me and are over 50 to do the same. Don't be worrying about what other people have to say about how you present yourself and how you dress. Dress for yourself, wear what you want, wear it how you want, and they can deal with it or don't. That's really not your concern, and it ain't none of your business. And what do we do around here? We mind our business in all aspects. What someone else thinks of you is not your business, and it's not your problem. That's their problem, and that's their business. Don't make it yours. But don't come into my space, because you will not last very long, and you will not even get engagement from me or anybody else, because your comment and you will be gone as soon as I read it. So understand that there's no democracy in my comment section. And y'all should be used to that by now, because y'all living in, if you're in the United States, y'all are living in authoritarianism as we speak. So get used to that, okay? But understand that you're not going to get a response from me. Male or female, black, white, orange, or otherwise. But my dear brothers and sisters, because that's who these comments are coming from, do understand that I will block your ass just as quickly as anybody else. Boundaries, I have them. I suggest you get some. Being quiet is always an option. As I always say, shutting the blankety blank up is free. More of us need to exercise that option, especially in other people's spaces. If you don't have boundaries, doesn't mean that anybody else doesn't have a right to have them. And over here is a boundary zone. So if you get out of pocket, you will be blocked. Okay? Have the day you deserve. And always remember that HR is not your enemy, but they're definitely not your friend. But I am. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.